What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more David Bowie, and we're back to finish the 1969 self-titled album, or Space Oddity, as I understand it's called. And this time I actually know the track we're going to hear comes from the album proper, and the reason I know is because I was going to do this reaction prior to the holiday break that I took, and I sat down and I started doing it, and a minute and a half into a track that in that version was like over 9 minutes, almost 10 minutes, it suddenly stopped, and apparently the track was incomplete. So I have heard the first minute and a half or so of this, but I'm putting this in scare quotes because then I went looking around online and I was able to download the final track from Space Oddity, and it's just over 7 minutes long. So I assume that the version that I had started to react to was another one of those, from a live performance of songs that were originally on the album. And again, for people who have commented that, you really should be listening to the album tracks, I get that, I understand. I just have been going through the material that I was given. So once again, shout out to Judith in that regard. But yes, so because this has a different duration, the track I've just loaded up that I got online, relative to the one I started reacting to, I'm guessing that was from a live performance and this is actually the album track. Now, that does mean that the first minute and a half or so of this I've heard, though I don't know how closely to the album version what I had listened to is. And secondarily, it was over a month ago, and it was just, again, like a minute and a half, and it ended up not being a video that I posted because I didn't have the full, complete track. So I don't really remember it, is the point. So, in any case, the name of the track, is it Memory of a Free Festival? Yes, Memory of a Free Festival. So, okay, Free Festival for someone of my age who, went to 90s rave parties would mean a festival that, is typically out in a rural area and is characterized by being more of like a collective type of thing. It's not like commercial, it's more about different artists coming together and doing things for cost, and being more about the vibe, the atmosphere, the ethos of the event. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if some of that relates to this late 60s usage of the phrase free festival, and of course I think there's a lineage there moving forward in time. But yes, I don't quite know what free festival may have meant specifically in the UK in the late 60s in the context of an artist like Bowie. But as I said, I'm guessing that some of the same concepts, even if in a different manifestation, will be relevant. But memory suggests that we're looking back on something, or that, even if it's a personal recollection and not so much a socio-cultural one, it does seem to suggest that it's from a time farther ahead, but reflecting back. So with all that in mind, I'll see what I can catch on a first listen, more or less. This is David Bowie. The tune is Memory of a Free Festival, and it's the final track on his 1969 self-titled album, which again, I understand is also sometimes referred to as Space Oddity.
Maybe I should announce it. Sure. The Memory of a Free Festival. The children of the summer's end gathered in the dampened grass. We played our songs and felt the London sky resting on our hands. It was God's land. It was ragged and naive. It was heaven. We touched the very soul of holding each and every life We claimed the very source of joy ran through. It didn't, but it seemed that way. I kissed a lot of people that day. Oh, to capture just one drop of all the ecstasy that swept that afternoon, to paint that love upon a white balloon and fly it from the topmost top of all the tops that man has pushed beyond his brain. Satori must be something just the same. We scanned the skies with rainbow eyes and saw machines of every shape and size. We talked with tall Venusians passing through, and Peter tried to climb aboard, but the captain shook his head, and away they soared, climbing through the ivory vibrant cloud. Someone passed and blessed among the crowd, and we walked back to the road unchained. The sun machine is coming down, and we're gonna have a party. The sun machine is coming down, and we're gonna have a party. Yeah, yeah, the sun machine is coming down. Sun machine is coming down. Sun machine is coming down.
Fascinating. So again, I don't know for sure if that is the album version, but it did sound like the live non-musical ambience, the other voices, was more like theatrical. It was more in the song. So yeah, unless, people correct me, I'm just going to assume this is the proper album version, which again suggests that the 9 minute and 45 second or whatever it was version that I had an incomplete file of must have been some later recording. In any case, I think a lot of the ideas I was thinking about in advance, the idea of this, cooperative type of festival where people are going for like, enrichment, spiritual, cultural, musical, and it being, less of a commercial type of event. I feel like that is there, and, seemingly talking about, what did he say? Like, I kissed many people that day, something to that effect. So the idea of free love, whether that is meant in like a more specific way as it is sometimes referred to like retrospectively, or just the idea of people who are open to experiences, interpersonal intimacy, or connections, if you will. It definitely sounds like there was a degree of experimentation, and there was a bit of a psychedelic feel to it, not like heavy, but a bit of that, and in part because of the ambience of the other voices. And then the way that the last few minutes were just a repetition and a repetition and a repetition, it feels like there's a conceptual meaning there, and sort of the lasting indelible impact or imprint that it made on people. I think there was a line, something about like, when we'll go back to the road, it's like, I don't know if it was like change people or something, but it sounds like, going back to the road could be a metaphor that, on the road of life you have to do things that are more like task oriented, or more mundane, or more like what you're supposed to be doing, more normative. But this was set aside from that. This was like an event out among people who were, forging and fashioning out their own space. And even if they did have to go back to the road, literal and or figurative, this was something different. And so it's, memories of this free festival thought about and reflected upon after the fact. Either way, I enjoy his vocals, which kind of have this like, up in your headspace, thinking about, reflecting upon. It had that sort of quality to it. And again, the sort of ambience of the other voices, sort of put you in the moment, like visually, and like, like you're in this live active memory with the narrator. So yeah, obviously there might be some specific references here that I'm either not picking up on just because I didn't hear them clearly, or perhaps more likely, I don't kind of have the cultural history clear enough to get a sense of, a more particular detailed reference being made. But definitely an enjoyable one. As I said, sort of psychedelic light and very visual, even as I think it is functioning on multiple levels in terms of the figurative meaning at play. So yeah, in the moment, I forget what the next album is in the folder, but I suppose I could check easily enough. Yeah, the next one in the folder is The Man Who Sold the World, 1970. So again, I don't quite know what to expect in this folder, whether everything will be, from the album proper, but either way, the next track, or the first track on that album, is The Width of a Circle. So unless I'm missing something, that will be the next time we come back to Bowie. Let me know what you think. Thank you again to Judith, and I will see you next time. Peace.